G'day, I'm Brendan and this is Sarah. Along with our two kids, Brody and Charlize, join us on our epic adventure when we set sail on our 48-foot privileged catamaran named Excelsior. So sit back, relax and enjoy as we bring you the good, the bad and the ugly of sailing the east coast of Australia. Alright, we thought we'd make the most of being up on the hard stand here at Boatworks and show you the underside of the boat. Not that there's much to show, but we'll give you a bit of a look anyway. Something which is reasonably unique about the privileged catamarans is the setup itself. Not a lot of catamarans actually have that. They typically just have quite the large trampoline and the bow strip that runs all the way through. So these are quite unique in that regard, and it gives them a hell of a lot of an actual extra strength. Only problem is that it just puts a little bit more weight towards the front of the boat, which occasionally we can get pretty bow deep, but it's not really a bother. The way they're designed though, which is actually quite phenomenal. You can see they've actually got the concaves in there and a little bit of rigidity. And essentially what that does is when you get the hull slap, the bridge slap, it breaks it up a little bit and makes it just a little bit less daunting. It doesn't sound quite like a grenade. Alright, so moving forward, I mean obviously you can see the trampolines. They're Ferrari netting, made in Italy. Apparently they're quite strong. They're not like normal netting in that they're not rope. They're actually like a canvas that's woven. They're really quite strong. It's quite funny though, because when you do get kids come over and say, "Oh, go and stand on the trampoline," they try and jump, and it's not bouncy at all. So most of them jump off and just hit the face, but it's quite funny. Anyway, moving down here, this privileged catamaran in particular. See, we've got mini keels, although they're not particularly mini, quite a good size, which this size keel really enables us to point quite well for such a big catamaran. A lot of the modern catamarans have the dagger boards, which we don't, but yeah, these mini keels are good, and as you can see, you can beat this big girl. It sits quite comfortably on the keels. These keels, so anything that I guess you can consider like a crash zone, are all reinforced with Kevlar. So it's a GRP boat, which means it's a poly resin with a foam core. So what you get there with the Kevlar reinforcing is just that extra little bit of strength in case you do bump into something like we might have done at one point. Come back here. Moving back, you can see our escape hatch here. We've only got one on this boat. One thing we really like about that escape hatch is the fact that it's actually in the bridge deck. A lot of catamarans these days, lagoons in particular, I think even the Fontaines, they've got their escape hatch in the hull, which scares me a little bit because you know there's a lot of water there, and I mean these things cop an absolute beating when you're in like an unstable sea state. The water comes up and just hits it so hard. And I think the thought of having an escape hatch down here so low to the waterline is quite daunting, and the fact that if it does break, you've just got so much water coming in. So we're really happy about having ours up there in the bridge deck, and just the one. Yeah, it works for us, makes us feel a little bit safer and comfortable. I've heard stories of boats actually sinking because escape hatches in the hulls have given way and the boat's taken on so much water they just can't stop it. That's a big area. That lets a lot of water in if you're in bad seas. So really happy about that there. Alright. So moving back, you might have seen an earlier episode. This is our stern drive and our beautiful Flexo fold props, which we bought direct from the factory in Denmark. Reason being, the Volvo Penta, these are the SE120 sail drives. They come out with a fixed prop, which is not so bad. Volvo though recommends, sorry about the noise, Volvo recommends that you actually leave them in neutral with a fixed prop, which is a nightmare when you're sailing because obviously the prop starts spinning and all you can feel is that vibration to the boat. So we put the Flexos on. While ever we're motoring, obviously it's centrifugal force that holds these out, so as soon as they get a little bit of power, the props just flick open like that and you get your power. when we decide to sail, what we do is we go into neutral, we shut the engines down, and then we actually put them into reverse. And what that does is it locks them in a rearward position like that, creating a hell of a lot less drag. We noticed it significantly, the amount of speed we actually gained. I honestly believe we picked up a knot to possibly even a knot and a half of boat speed just by putting these folding props on. So if you're thinking about doing it, just do it, because they are honestly one of the best modifications we've made to this boat. It's fantastic. Obviously you can see the rudders, nice big surface area, nothing too special to say about the rudders. A little bit of a controversy between catamaran owners and old salt dogs, whether they have a toe in or they're going to be neutral. We'll talk about that one later in another episode. Underwater lights, or as the previous owners, Gilly used to call them his dickhead lights. We love them, they're beautiful, and you've seen in other videos the nice blue light that they put on. It's just spectacular when you're at a nice anchorage and you got all the backfish and all the other fish just swarming around the back of the boat. It gives you your own aquarium. So yeah, we love them, they're fantastic. Looking from the rear forward here, you can see we've got these two, I guess you'll call them lockers. What these are designed for is life raft. So I'm assuming that when this boat first came out, it was a charter cat in the Mediterranean. It would have had two life rafts in these lockers here, which can actually be accessed from up above. So, you know, if the worst were to happen and you were to capsize, basically come on here, pull those, and that just opens out and you can pull the life raft. If something else happens and you're still upright, you can access the life raft from the top. So really, I think that's really quite a clever design. Bit of a nightmare. We keep all of our dive gear in there, and sometimes the water gets in there and our wetsuits are a little bit smelly, but it is what it is. It's all good. Not much to really say about this. This is our sugar scoop and our swim ladder. We recently took this off and basically redid the sugar scoops. They were cracking, peeling, flaking, and they just looked awful. Plus, see in another episode later on, while we hit the boatworks, I made these fiberglass, let's just call them bumpers, yeah. And we put gel coat on these. This is all 2-pack paint here. 2-pack is beautiful and really easy to maintain, but it scratches and dings so easily. So we put these gel coat bumpers on here, just for when we come in a little bit hot and fast in the dinghy and smack into it.
Welcome on board SV Excelsior. This is our saloon. So for those of you new to boating, saloon means your lounge dining space. This is our little bar, which is one of our little favourite nooks and crannies. Through in here we have a centre berth. So our floating home has 5 double beds and it used to have 4 bathrooms. We'll talk about those later. So this is when guests come over, they use this bed, and it's got plenty of storage around the side. We keep guitars, spare bedding, all sorts of things in there. There's lots of storage. The TV from the saloon area can also flip around into that space, so if the kids just want to chill out in there, watch movies with their friends or have little sleepovers, that's what they do. The kids spend a lot of their time in this saloon area, so especially when we're under passage, they do schoolwork and just hang out here, watch TV, that sort of thing. So yeah, this is quite unique to the Privilege, this centre bed area. Underneath all of the saloon seating, there's actually crazy amounts of storage. So these all lift up, and there's hatches in there. This is designated for school books for the kids, so it's easy access. We can just pull them out, do our schoolwork. A lot of the other ones have fiberglassing supplies, electrical supplies, plumbing supplies, things like that, all in storage tubs, all designated with and labelled so that we know where to find everything, because that's the thing on a boat. Your storage is not always easy to get to, so you want to make it as user-friendly as possible. Yeah. So over here we have our refrigerator. This is quite a substantial fridge. It's chock-a-block at the moment because we've just done a massive provision to keep us going for the next few months. Up here we have the all-important coffee machine and soda stream. Come on down. We have a galley down design. We would have preferred galley up, just for when we're making passage. I get a little bit queasy when I come down into the hulls, but most of our cooking is really done when we're at anchor anyway, so it's not too bad. You know, you're not going to find the boat that ticks all of your boxes. So this is actually a good sized kitchen for a boat, and has plenty of storage. Lots of bench space, gas hob over here. We've got the air fryer on a pull-out drawer with the hatch above giving nice ventilation so the kitchen doesn't get too hot. There used to be a gas oven in here, but it's been converted to have a small refrigerator in there, so we keep like our regular milk, butter, cheese, things that we use all the time in this little handy fridge so that we can utilise that as we need it. Big drop down sink. We've got plenty of cupboard space. Up the top in here we put all of our potatoes, onions, snacks, bits and bobs that we access all the time.
Krispy Kremes.
And then just, you know, your tea and coffee, things that we're using all the time or quite frequently go in these little cupboards. And I'll take you through to the portside aft cabin, so to show you some extra storage options that we have for food. So portside aft cabin, this is actually Charlize's room, but through in the rear head here, this is a manual head, so that's quite handy, just in case our electric head shits itself. Pardon the pun. In here I've got all of our extra storage, so canned goods, snacks, big bags of cereal. I like to actually unpackage all of my food from the boxes. Cardboard attracts bugs, cockroaches, things like that, so I try to eliminate any of that. In here we have all of our chippies and snacks. This one has all of more snacks and soda stream mixes and things like that, but it's still a functional bathroom for Charlize, so if she needs to go to the toilet she can use this bathroom. She can brush her teeth in here. This is a massive shell that she found, believe it or not. You probably saw that on our Double Island episode. Yeah, so that's my extra pantry space and Charlize's room. She's got her wardrobe cupboards in here. Also, in every room we've got USB ports, so handy for charging devices. We just store our microwave up here for when we're on passage so it doesn't come off the bench. It's quite secure in there, and lots of room for books and knickknacks. So the portside forward cabin is Brodie's room. It is basically a mirror to our room. So same cupboard space, wardrobe, seating area and bed. And the forward head is basically identical to ours as well.
Which is rarely clean, because it's Brody's.
Alright, over here we have the nav desk. This is where I do my work. I'm really fortunate that I can work while we live this lifestyle. I've got my printer over here, good shelf space for storing cameras, stationery supplies. Also the desk lifts up. Sorry about the mess in there. Another favourite of mine is the freezer. So this is a 200 litre freezer, which makes provisioning a dream. We've gone a couple of months without having to stop and re-provision, which is fantastic. You'll see the escape hatches here through the floor. So this grate just lifts up and you can open that. When we open that at sea, it gives us a really good airflow through the boat. So the airflow from the water rushes up through the overhead hatches and just creates a really nice, basically our own air conditioning, if you like. The chair's on a swivel, which is really handy, and Brennan will take you through all of the nav stuff later on.
Alright, so business end of the electronics side of things. Well, I already gave a little bit of a spiel about this, I think in one of our earlier videos when we're en route to Musgrave. Update, we're about 6 months behind in our videos at the moment, but you wouldn't have seen yet a couple of months back while we're leaving Early Beach, we had a complete MFD failure. So we had, what we had in here originally was two 12-inch A-series Raymarine screens and a 9-inch screen outside. Touch screens, something went wrong. They started freezing and creating all sorts of dramas. I'll talk about that later. But what we ended up having to do was take the 12-inch screens out and put two 9-inch Axioms in. Stupidly, Raymarine decided to write new software that didn't communicate with any of their old stuff, which forces you then to basically upgrade everything, which I think is disgraceful and a bit of a cash grab. But anyway, it is what it is. So in here now, all we've got is just the single 9-inch Axiom screen, which look, they're fantastic. The updated software and what they're capable of it's brilliant. So I do love them. I'm just furious that they haven't made it so that it integrates with all their older software. I think that's just disgraceful. But anyway, so from here we also control our generator. So we have a 10 kVA Fisher Panda generator. Best thing about this is obviously it's remote control, so we don't have to go down, we don't have to pull anything, we have to start anything, we just hit start here. It's a diesel generator, a little 2-cylinder Kubota, which is a great little engine. So yeah, for us we just hit start stop here, we don't even hear it basically, it's really quite quiet. Underneath here again is remote control for our sea recovery water maker. So whenever we're running the Jenny, we'll turn the water maker on and make some water. It makes about 100 litres an hour. Obviously when you get up into the warmer climates, the water's warmer, you make a hell of a lot more water. For any of those people who are familiar with physics, you'll understand why. But yeah, so we control everything from here. Fortunately for us, this water maker, what it'll do is it'll actually go through its process. It'll test the water, and once it gets to the right consistency, it'll actually transfer itself to the tanks. So initially when you start it, it starts making water and it'll pump, I guess you call the slurry out straight away until the water gets to a quality that's we call it potable, drinkable. And then it'll actually transfer over and just start filling the tanks all by itself. And when we do hit stop, this whole system will go through a full flush on its own. We don't have to do anything, and then it shuts itself down. So unbelievable technology, and it makes life so much easier. Over here, all we've got is our switch panel, right? We've got it looks like there's a whole bunch going on, but it's not. Most of these are just lights, our fridge switches, bilge pumps. We've got alarms, so if our bilge is full, or if it's, you know, there's water coming in, we've got alarms that will actually go off and let us know which bilge, and they've got the pumps in there that just kick in automatically. The most important thing in the nav station is the Fusion stereo, which we just absolutely use ad nauseum. We're never going anywhere without having music on, which you've probably heard in most of the videos. Multi-control station here, so this is for our Victron. We've got a 3000 watt inverter down below. Obviously you can see that it's on float at the moment because we're connected on shore power whilst being at the boat works. In here we've just got a little bit of a crude whiteboard in place of where one of our 12-inch screens was. Again, relatively upset about that, but it is what it is. This here is our remote control for our FLIR, our infrared camera. Unfortunately, when we had to get rid of these screens, these new Axioms aren't compatible with the old analog technology, so we've got to go and buy an adapter to try and get the thermal camera back online with these Axioms, which again is costly and infuriating, but whatever. I'll get over that one day, maybe. VHF, so again, it's a DSC, so we can do direct messaging between ships with this GPS. No input data because, again, the new Axioms don't talk to the old technology, so we haven't got any GPS data on here at the moment. Again, we have to buy another adapter, which we will do, and we'll get it all up and running before we head overseas. And here we've just got a stock standard little I-70 wind instrument, which we can bring up all sorts of data here. So you got speeds and depths and everything else basically. We rarely use it. That's actually our AIS, believe it or not, on there as well. So all your targets and range. Yeah, that's about it there. We've got a Victron smart shunt there, so it tells us what power's coming in, what's going out, charge state, all that sort of good stuff. At the moment, I don't know why it's showing -4 while we're switched on to shore power. I think it just does its own little thing and drains and then charges. Right, so we've got so these things here, you've got four doubles, 4 double USB points, which is awesome for charging all your stuff. You know, we've always got GoPros and drones and just heaps of shit on charge. That's our Wi-Fi there, so that's really handy as well. And then you've got 2 other cigarette outlets there, which we've actually just plugged USB points into as well. A USB and AUX point for the Fusion stereo as well, and there's also a little Bluetooth receiver under here, so we can control the music and everything from our phones or from the Axiom out at the helm. Quite handy. So yeah, look, that's about it for the nav station. We do have on this boat a TrackSat satellite phone and internet. However, we don't use it because being that we're just traveling around Australia at the moment, we're still staying quite close to shore, and we installed a Cellfi Go, which you'll see again in a later episode, which just basically acts as a booster for your cellular data. So we just turn that on here, it pumps in signal. Basically, we'll get 4 bars of whatever it can pick up throughout the boat, which means we have internet. The TrackSat satellite phone, the plan is absolutely disgustingly priced. I think it's about, from memory, I think it's about $600 or $700 US a month for 5 megabytes of data, which is just pathetic, absolutely pathetic. So I cannot wait for Elon Musk to bring out his Starlink satellite internet, which they're going to make mobile apparently by the end of this year. So I'll be ripping that dish off, throwing it in the bin, and a big old stuff you to TrackSat, and I'm going to put Elon Musk's Starlink satellite up there, and we'll crank out internet fast and have unlimited data. Apparently it's all coming, so we'll see what happens there. But look, amazing technology, useless to us because we simply can't afford it, and I don't know who can. It's disgraceful considering what you get. $600 US a month for 5 megabytes is just, it's hopeless. So anyway, obsolete equipment there.
So moving on down to the starboard side of the boat, we've got wardrobe space in here, which is huge capacity. We've got all of our life jackets and safety equipment up in these lockers. More storage all through here, which is linen, towels. I can show you that actually. Heaps of storage in this boat. It's actually fantastic. And more linen, life jackets, wet weather gear, swimwear, etc. is up in there. In this side we've got all of our, like our grab bag, our Garmin plotter for the dinghy. Just bits and pieces that we grab and use all the time in this open shelving section. Sorry, it's not very organised at the moment. In this cupboard here, it is not a wine rack. It looks like a wine rack. It is just the compressor for the freezer in there, which is housed in there. And in this side, we've got our switchboard. We can tell what level our water tanks are and our fuel. And yeah, it's really quite handy to know what our consumption is. So Starboard Fwd Aft has been converted into a workshop and laundry. So they've actually removed the head from the rear aft. And put a washing machine in there. Still got your sink, still a really functional space. And then instead of having the seating nook here, there's been a bench put in with your vice, tools, storage. Just makes it really handy for when we have maintenance issues come up and we need to access all of our tools. There's also a bed, a usable bunk on this side which we use for guests. Through to the starboard forward bedroom. This is our bedroom. So kids on port side and us on the starboard. We've got this whole space to ourselves, which is really handy. Lots of storage under the beds. Like I said, there's your USB ports in every room. So it's quite a bit bigger than the rear cabin. It has a seating area and wardrobe. So this is where all of Brendan's clothing is in these ones. Then we have the forward head. For those of you new to sailing, ahead is the bathroom. Sounds strange, I know. So we actually shower from these taps pull out. So it's like a veggie spray that you have in your kitchen at home, but we can just hook it up on the back of the door and shower, and it actually works really well. When we're usually out at anchor, we do have the deck shower most of the time. Just saves cleaning and it's just so much easier.
I like to shower outdoors, it's cleaner.
But this is the master.
Beautiful big hatches above the bed too.
Under there. It's got good use of shelving.
Good use of shelving.
Go away.
The opportunity. Scratch that. Righto, we're okay.
It also does still have a bedroom suite. So when we have spare people on board.
Spare people.
Do that again.
Do it again. Spare people. Just spare humans.
Oh my god.
Do it again.
Here on a draw runner system. Mind the squeak. So well ventilated with the escape hatch, or not the escape hatch.
This is
Should I talk about any of the other storage?
Yeah, if you want to.
Kitchen?
Oh, really? If you want to.
It is just unreal, that freezer. What else to say?